After I rejected my neighbor's offer to manage my rental property, he started sabotaging my tenants, smashing windows, keying cars, reporting fake building code violations. I documented everything. When the state's attorney took the case, they added charges for racketeering and conspiracy. When he broke down sobbing in court, begging for leniency, not a single neighbor showed up to support him. Let me tell you what happens when you say no to the wrong person. I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia, born and raised. I'm a 47-year-old guy who works a regular job and manages a rental house my dad left me. I'm not rich. I'm not trying to be. I just wanted to keep the property in the family and give good tenants a decent place to live. That was working just fine until Ray Godwin moved in next door. At first, he seemed harmless. Retired military, maybe Army or Air Force. Early 60s, gray crew cut, wore cargo shorts even when it snowed. He had this habit of drinking Diet Coke while pacing his yard, like he couldn't sit still. We'd nod when passing. Chit-chat about football. Neighborhood stuff. That was it. Then about 6 months after he moved in, he came over while I was fixing the front gutter at the rental. "Hey, I got a business idea for you," he said, leaning against my truck. "Shoot," I replied. "I've managed properties before. You let me handle this place, keep the tenants in line, take care of maintenance. I get 15% of the rent. You sit back and relax. I didn't even have to think about it. Appreciate it, Ray, but I'm good. I've managed it myself for years." His whole face tightened. Smile vanished. "It's a lot of work. You sure you want that stress?" "Positive." That was the end of the friendly Ray. The first thing was the cars. My tenants, the Dunbars, a young couple, came to me in May. Someone had keyed both their cars. Deep scratches down the driver's sides. I thought it was random vandalism. Kids, maybe. I told them I'd cover the deductible. Then someone smashed the small basement window. It was a rock job. A big chunk of concrete right through the glass. I installed security cameras that weekend. As I was drilling into the siding, Ray wandered over. "Security, huh? Smart move. This area's going downhill." His tone was casual, but his eyes weren't. He was studying where I put the cameras. Within a week, the Dunbars got a notice on their door from the city. Code violations. Peeling paint, false. Overgrown weeds, also false. Loose front steps, I just rebuilt them. I showed up for the inspection. The city guy was polite but said they'd received anonymous reports. "Somebody really wants us to find something," he added under his breath. He found nothing wrong. Case closed. But the harassment didn't stop. That summer, the Dunbars left. They said it wasn't worth the hassle. The scratches. The busted window. The complaints. "We love the place, but we can't live like this." I understood. A new family moved in. Same story. Within 3 weeks, they had their tires slashed. They didn't even bother breaking their lease. They just left, ate the cost. That's when I realized this wasn't random. I filed police reports. Dozens. Every keyed car. Every broken window. Every bogus complaint. Cops said what they always say. "Without direct evidence, there's not much we can do." I reviewed camera footage every night. Whoever was doing this knew exactly where the cameras pointed. They stayed out of sight. But I had a feeling. Ray always seemed to be outside right after something happened. Offering sympathy. Suggesting I reconsider his management offer. Out of desperation, I hired Ron Decker, a private investigator. Ron was no nonsense. Bald. Stocky. Former deputy sheriff. He listened quietly as I told him everything. "I'll start with surveillance. You keep things normal on your end. No warnings." Let him get comfortable. He installed covert cameras, tiny ones covering the blind spots. He also ran a background check on Ray. It didn't take long. The covert cameras caught Ray spraying weed killer in my flower beds. pacing near tenant cars at night. Meeting with two younger men, local guys with minor criminal records for vandalism and trespassing. Ron's background check uncovered even more. Ray had been fined twice in Maryland for fraudulent property management schemes. He'd bullied property owners into letting him manage their rentals, then skimmed money and drove out tenants to buy the properties cheap. I started logging everything. Every act of vandalism. Every phony complaint. Dates, times, witnesses. Then it escalated. My last tenant, Kelsey, a single mom with a daughter, called me at 2 a.m. Someone had broken in. They kicked in the back door. Stole her laptop, cash, and the daughter's tablet. Police came. Dusted for prints. Nothing. Kelsey was terrified. She wanted to break the lease. I convinced her to stay a bit longer. I paid for a better security system and added another covert camera. If you can hang in a little longer, I promise this will be worth it, I told her. Ron suggested a sting. We found an off-duty cop, Officer Jim Pierce, willing to pose as a new tenant. He moved in. Pretended he was sick of landlords and ready for a new arrangement. Within 4 days, Ray slipped a note under his door. If you want peace, fire your landlord. I can manage this place and keep the trouble away. Cash deal. Extortion. Ron took the note straight to the Commonwealth's attorney. Once the prosecutor saw Ron's file, they went deep. Turns out Ray had tried the same stunt in 3 other neighborhoods over the past decade. He forced out tenants. Got landlords to sell cheap. Took over properties. They brought in state investigators. The charges kept growing. The list: felony vandalism, criminal harassment, conspiracy, attempted extortion, racketeering. Under Virginia law, when Ray was arrested, he tried to talk his way out of it. This is a mistake. I'm just protecting the neighborhood. No one listened. Trial lasted a week. Ron testified. My tenants testified. Even the city inspectors testified about the false complaints. Ray's lawyer argued he was just a concerned neighbor. A good citizen. The jury took 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. When the verdict was read, Ray stood up in court and broke down sobbing. I'm sorry. I thought I was helping. Please have mercy. I have no family left. But here's what hit me the hardest. The courtroom had maybe 30 seats. I sat with my tenants, Ron, and the prosecutor's team. Ray? Not one neighbor showed up to support him. Not the people he used to barbecue with. Not the ones he gossiped with. Nobody. They knew who he really was now. When the bailiffs led Ray away in cuffs, I thought that would be the end. I was wrong. A week after the verdict, I came home from work to find a manila envelope taped to my front door. No stamp. No return address. Inside, photos of me at work. Photos of my son's school. A note. Not over. My stomach dropped. I called Ron immediately. They're trying to intimidate you. Somebody's picking up where Ray left off, or he had help all along. We turned the evidence over to the police. They opened a new investigation. Ron dug deeper into Ray's past. It turned out Ray wasn't working alone. The 2 guys seen on camera with him? Toby and Vince Morales. Cousins. Small-time criminals. Vandalism. Trespassing. 1 assault charge from back in 2017. They were known for doing dirty work for landlords trying to scare out bad tenants, or, apparently, anyone standing in the way of a property deal. The Morales cousins had gone quiet after Ray's arrest, but the photos proved they, or someone connected to them, were still lurking. Ron warned me. They think if they scare you, you'll drop everything. Maybe sell the property. Maybe move. If you back down now, they win. Backing down wasn't an option. 2 nights later, my rental's garage caught fire. Luckily, the tenants were out, and the fire department got there fast. The flames didn't reach the main house. The fire chief found evidence of arson. A gasoline trail leading from the alley to the garage door. The police increased patrols, but it felt like we were always 2 steps behind. Ron came to me with a plan. We can't just wait for the cops to connect the dots. Let's bait them out. We set up a new, for sale, sign at the rental with a fake phone number that rang directly to Ron's burner phone. We also spread word through a few local contacts that I was thinking of selling under pressure, just what the Morales cousins wanted to hear. Sure enough, 2 days later, Ron got a call. We can help you with your problem. Sell cheap, cash deal, and the trouble stops. The caller wouldn't give a name, but the voice matched Vince Morales. Ron recorded everything. With the new evidence, the Commonwealth's attorney's office reopened the case. They didn't just want to hit the Morales cousins with vandalism or harassment charges. They wanted conspiracy. They wanted arson. They wanted to tie it all back to Ray and show this was organized criminal activity, racketeering. If they could prove that, these guys weren't looking at fines or probation. They were looking at decades. But to get there, we needed more. Ron suggested the riskiest move yet. Let's arrange a face-to-face meeting. Pretend you're ready to sell. Get them to say enough to lock it all down. I agreed. It was dangerous. But I was done living in fear. We chose a public spot, a diner on Route 3. Ron wired me up. Police sat 2 booths over. Vince showed up alone. Cocky. Sat down like we were old pals. Smart choice, man. You sell, you get out clean. We handle the headaches. Same way Ray handled things before. He smiled wide, showing gold-capped teeth. Price is 20% below market. Take it or leave it. I kept my voice steady. And the trouble stops? Immediately. You got my word. He leaned back, confident. That was all the cops needed. They arrested Vince on the spot. Within 48 hours, they picked up Toby Morales. The Morales cousins faced arson, extortion, conspiracy, racketeering. When shown the evidence, including the voice recording and surveillance footage, Vince folded fast. It was Ray's plan. We just did what he told us. But it turned out, Ray had more helpers. A third man. Someone neither Ron nor the police had identified yet. Vince called him the broker. A guy who set up the property deals once Ray forced owners to sell. Vince claimed he didn't know the broker's real name. Only that he lived somewhere near Stafford County and drove a silver Lexus. The police had a new lead. Once Vince started cooperating, the police put serious pressure on him to give up the broker's name. At first, he claimed he didn't know. Just a voice on the phone and a silver Lexus. But under threat of a 25-year sentence, he cracked. Name's Mason Laird. Real estate guy. Does flips and wholesale deals all over Stafford and Fredericksburg. I knew the name. Mason had called me twice over the years, always lowballing offers on my rental. It had all been connected from the start. The Commonwealth's attorney approved a wire operation. Vince, wearing a hidden mic, arranged a meeting with Mason at a Starbucks parking lot. Vince told Mason the property was available, and that I was finally scared enough to sell. Mason showed up in the silver Lexus. Clean-cut, polo shirt, khakis. Looked like any suburban dad. As soon as Vince mentioned the word arson, Mason's whole face changed. We don't talk about that. Ever. Police moved in. Mason was arrested for racketeering, conspiracy to commit arson, criminal harassment, and fraud. Mason tried to distance himself. Claimed Ray and the Morales cousins acted on their own. That he just purchased distressed properties. But the voice recordings, text messages, and bank records told a different story. He'd paid Ray a $15,000 finder's fee for each property he drove to the edge. He'd wired $5,000 to the Morales cousins through a shell landscaping company. It wasn't just my house. It was 5 properties across 3 neighborhoods. Mason, Ray, Toby, and Vince were tried together. The trial lasted almost a month. Guilty. On every single count. Ray Godwin, 12 years, already serving, no parole. Vince Morales, 8 years. Toby Morales, 10 years. Mason Laird, 22 years. Plus restitution to every property owner he targeted. When the sentences were read, Mason broke down. Please, I have a family. I was trying to provide for them. But no one, not the victims, not the jury, not even the judge, showed him an ounce of mercy. The courtroom was packed with the very neighbors Mason and Ray had tried to bully. Not one person spoke in their defense. With restitution money, I fully renovated my rental property. New siding. New roof. State-of-the-art security. Kelsey and her daughter? I gave them a year of free rent for standing strong through all the terror. Ron Decker's PI business exploded. People around Fredericksburg now call him the landlord's guardian angel. As for me, I didn't sell. I stayed. I kept managing my dad's house just like he would have wanted. They tried to drive me out. Instead, they drove themselves straight into prison. Justice wasn't just served. It was delivered.